Hello, everybody. Welcome back to SketchCraft Gaming. I'm Rob Duenas. Gaming Artist Esquire. Joining in tonight is Wesley Rusher. Wesley, say hello.
All right. Hello.
All right. Also joining in tonight is Ashley West from GangFeather.com. Ashley, say hello.
Hello.
And if you're new to the gaming side of SketchCraft, you should know that weekly we typically rant about gaming-related news stuff. We all take a break from art or whatever Wesley does, and
I'm an artist too.
He's an artist, and
words.
he takes a break from his Vive and his $10,000 PC collection and hangs out with us kids and talks about video games. If you notice, the logo's red this week. I'm gonna fix all that. I'm in process of fixing up all the logos, so everything will be nice and green and themed next week. In the meantime, let me just give you a rundown of what we're looking at on today's episode. I got some Lionhead. Lionhead finally closed its doors a couple weeks ago. That I want to talk about. Disney Infinity. That'll be fun to touch on. Wesley. Oh, new Destiny expansion leaked. I actually should have something to say about that. Some Doom impressions. I've been playing Uncharted 4. And I have to eat a little crow. So I'll save that for last. All that and more in today's episode 20 of SketchCraft Gaming. Perfect. So, Wesley, why don't we start with new Destiny expansion leaked? Talk about that.
Yeah, yesterday a poster popped up on Reddit. I saw the article on Kotaku and was too lazy to find a source somewhere else. So anyways, it shows the Iron Banner Maestro Lord Saladin standing with a giant great axe on fire and a bunch of wolves around. He looks like he's on Earth in like the Russian area. It's a lot of snow. Apparently the new expansion is called Rise of Iron, which I'm guessing we will see more at E3, which is like 2 weeks away. And the rumor is it's supposed to be out by September. New raid. Just we knew something was coming. Activision announced that like Destiny 2 was scheduled for like I think late 2017, maybe 2018. So it was supposed to originally I think be planned for this year. So with everything being pushed back, they need to keep that audience engaged with some new content.
And that audience would be Ashley West. Ashley.
Yeah.
And me a little bit.
Why don't we synergize here?
It's funny. I felt like Destiny, and maybe this is just me, but I felt like it had dropped kind of off the face of the earth a little bit. So I was really wondering about like when's the next thing coming, and like September seems very appropriate. I mean, that's kind of like their thing. They do a lot of September releases, so that I'm looking forward to it. I'll probably will end up getting it because I've gotten all the other expansions.
They got you. They got you right in the arm.
It's a fun game. They really improved the storytelling with the last expansion when they kicked out Peter Dinklage and replaced him with Nolan North and just kind of redid the whole thing.
What if they did that on Game of Thrones? What if they just kicked him out and replaced him with Nolan North? And like, well, it was good for the game.
Yeah, but I guess it will be still in Russia. I guess I don't know I wonder if they'll ever go anywhere else on Earth besides Russia.
I feel at this point they're probably not going to create like too many crazy new areas. They're probably just going to repurpose assets and save all the new level design and new areas for the inevitable sequel. But yeah, it's actually funny timing. I was playing The Division last night, and that game's very Destiny-esque. 4-player co-op. RPG mechanics, run around, shoot things. But it's just so much more boring to me, at least. At least in the single player content, you just run around this empty New York, and you're just like, where are enemies? Where is anything going on? And it's the same environment. At least with Destiny, you have other planets to see.
Yeah, a lot more. It's funny. The last time we were talking about, oh my gosh, what is it?
The Division.
the Division. I rewatched the episode. I was just listening, and I watched Rob's face the whole time, and it looked like he was literally like dying of boredom. It was funny, and you were like talking, and you were so enthusiastic, and I was like, oh really? Oh, and like Rob was just
Like
so
Destiny,
sorry.
it's a fundamentally solid game, The Division,
Yeah.
and I really need to delve more into the Dark
It's a
Zone.
fundamentally solid game that takes place in an empty city, and it's not quite as good as this other game that people say was sort of like hollowed out and cut up into a million pieces. But other than that, it's really good. Like,
Well, in all fairness, the big draw with that game, especially with Destiny, is the raids, and I never did any of the Destiny raids,
You know
so
what's funny is I tried to tackle one by myself, and it was stupid to try to do that because that wasn't gonna happen. You needed three people, and it was one on Venus with the rings with the wall. Do you remember?
yeah,
Did
it's
you
like
attempt
the
that
House
one?
of Glass or
Yeah, and even
whatever.
me and my friends tried it, and we didn't get anywhere. We just like
Yeah,
kept going around in circles,
we
and
we got inside with four people, but then the fourth person was like, "Okay, guys, I got to bail," and then yeah, that was it because it just
yeah.
gets
So
progressively even
I've
harder than
never,
that.
yeah. The raids to me, not the best part of Destiny at all.
And the
In my
division, its big thing is its PvP area, which is the Dark Zone, and I'm not quite high enough of a level to really delve into that area yet. So the areas that bore me right now, maybe the other part of the game is enticing, but if I get there, I get there.
awesome. So, I take it you're gonna get the expansion then, right? Right, Resley?
Yeah, I think so.
do you
Like I
think
said, we
what do
were
you think
joking.
it's gonna what do you think it's gonna be the price?
This report from Kotaku was stating that it's going to be bigger than the first two DLCs, so possibly close to the same size. So I could see it being $40 again.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, because I think they were both like 20 each, and you could
Yeah,
buy both of them for like 40. And yeah, so I could see that. Yeah,
and the last one was 40.
right.
So I wonder if they're gonna piss fans off again though and do Destiny, year three, and for $60 you get all the content
I'm sure, but
again.
they tried to give us perks like year one Destiny people. They were trying to I don't know. They gave you. I forgot what they gave us. What did they? Do you
It's a
remember what they gave
bunch of
us?
crap, but I mean, to be honest, really nobody
It
has
wasn't
any
that
reason
much. All I
to
can say is I
be
know it wasn't that
upset.
much.
They were playing the game for a whole year, and you're paying for that year, experience, that year
Yeah,
privilege, and things have changed in the game. And anyways, that's enough about Destiny.
I know. I was just gonna say, do you miss legendary marks and crucible marks? I miss them.
It's been so long since I played, I didn't even know they were gone.
They are gone. When they got rid of them, I was mad. I used to farm them, and then all of a sudden I was like, I have no reason to play. I'm gonna and like then I waited until I got the. That was when that happened right when what was it called the Taken King came out, and I could not play anymore. I was like, there's nothing for me here. I don't have the DLC yet, so I'm just gonna go. And then it came back. So anyways, all right, I'm done.
Awesome. So, moving right along, we got what else we got on the list here? Okay, let's talk about. So, I got a big question for you both. How many here, show of hands, because we're all watching, people other than me. How many people here actually bought Disney Infinity figures?
I could flip on
Sure,
the camera really
sure.
quick and raise my hand. No, I don't.
Just tap the
I,
table. No, I
I
didn't
was
buy
I was
anything.
I was really close to buying like the Aladdin and Jasmine figures just for the wife because she's a big Aladdin fan. But yeah, I have not bought the game or a single figure.
Ashley, have you bought any of that stuff?
Nope,
No, see.
no.
But I know Brandon bought a shitload of them. And I was going to have him come on and talk about it, but he's in the middle of driving actually here. So he's on the road. He can't do it. But basically, Disney made this game called Disney Infinity to appease Bacon, who buys all those Skylander figures. And, and they ran short on their first run. So then they printed a billion more up. And now they're shutting the whole fucking thing down, citing that the business finally caught up to them, which basically means they just printed too much inventory. So,
Yeah.
I mean, this comes back to like a lot of my friends who are younger keep telling me, man, Rob, why don't you just work for the big companies? And I tried to explain to them that you can work for a big company. That doesn't mean you're going to be working there for 50. It's not like you get in and you're going to be there for the next 50 years. There's your 2 years and then here's your paper, go on. Like a bigger, like I imagine every time Disney Interactive Studios, right, built a whole video game company and put Warren Spector, the guy who created Deus Ex Machina, Deus Ex, whatever, right? Was it no,
Yeah.
no. Sorry, I get it confused. Was it Deus Ex? Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
believe so.
Or don't quote me, internet. It's that cyber fucking game. So anyhow, the '90s were hard to remember cyber games, folks. I had Shadowrun, Deus Ex, I had a fucking million of them. Anyhow, Messiah, and so they put him in charge, and he did a Mickey Mouse game, and you would think that's job security. I even got to hang out with Warren Spector at Disneyland all day. That was one of the weirdest trips of my life, and they shut that fucking studio down. They made this racing game called Split Second. That's hella fucking cool, and they shut that down. So my advice is, if Disney builds a video game studio, just figure you're gonna be there for 2 years tops, and you're out of fucking job. So they basically announced that they shut that down this week, and the internet was like, no, "Oh, my figures are gonna be worth nothing," and I'm like, they're not figures, man. I mean, it's like Disney took the Guitar Hero model and cut the Guitar Hero plastic up, all the remaining plastic up into like marshmallow cube sized pieces of plastic, and molded figures out of them to move that Guitar Hero inventory out. And so, I don't know, man. Like, I guess this is like the next. So Skylanders. I mean, I could tell you they're having trouble. I know, based off licensing that I worked on. Disney's Infinity's out. Nintendo's probably the only one left with that could keep
There's,
this going, right? Like
there's also Lego Dimensions.
Lego. Okay, well, Legos are pretty foolproof.
And the cool thing about those figures are they are actual Lego characters you can put
Right.
in your Lego world. So it's a nice way to kind of brand
Yeah.
that. I have to say that Lego Dimensions starter set. Oh my god, I bought that for my nephew. It took like fucking an hour to put together. Like he was 6 at the time, and it was like the most complicated. It was a super hard Lego set to build, like hundreds of tiny little pieces. So
For
I-
ages 6 and up.
yeah.
Ashley, you were gonna say?
Well, it's just kind of crazy because they shut down, but it was not even. I wish I could tell what date this was, but I have a magazine that was, it was the cover of the magazine, and it was maybe a little less than a year ago, like summer-ish, end of summer. I don't know. And I mean, they were just like, it was, a big thing. They were talking all about it, and I mean, it was the longest article in the magazine.
Well, I brought it
And
right up on Screen Rant. Had a really good "What Killed Infinity," but just
yeah.
so-
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, it's just funny how it was so gung ho, and it looked like, it was going to be pretty good. And I could find it if I looked long enough. Maybe I will. I could see what
I
review
believe
score it got.
it was a Game Informer cover because it was
Yeah,
the whole
it was.
Star
That's what I was saying. It's Game Informer. I could look just when you talk. I can find it and see what score they gave them. And I mean, not that the score really reflects anything. I don't know. I mean, go ahead, and do you have the list?
The list.
Yeah, you said you had a list.
Well, the screen.
Well,
rant
yeah. I
article was
mean,
really
you're talking
good.
about basically 3 key reasons, right? They're like inventory versus sales, which we've said they've overproduced figures on Wave 2. Lack of corporate synergy, which is, we want to basically tie this into that for all the movie games. They're trying to find a way to recreate that THQ 2005 model of licensed video games where they make a cheap game and it sells. And I guess it's
Hmm.
not working anymore in the apps. So, like, this toy thing was an idea, where we could make a
Yeah.
themed Star Wars thing to revolve around this, this giant global marketing thing for a movie, which we all know video games timed to movie releases never work.
Right. Well,
You know?
it's funny, and now I'll have to say that I'm so glad that Mad Max did not go that route, and they totally changed this. The story is completely different from the movie. Like the video game story is completely different from the movie story. Yeah, it still talks, or it still makes references to like Immortan Joe and stuff like that, but it's about this other guy, his other son, Scrotus, who's, you know, yeah,
I know. I
who's
know.
who's off on this
I'm
other
12.
stretch of land terrorizing people. So anyway,
Well, to be
it,
fair, that was in development before the movie had it. Like, I mean, the movie had been
Yeah.
developed for 7 years, but it was being
right.
made. Almost a lot of us felt that it was being made as a replacement to this movie we were never going to see for some reason. You know, like
Well,
that movie's never coming out, man. So I guess this game's what we're going to get. But they were wise to not then try to shoehorn in the movie, which, you know, you could always imagine that happening one day, right, Wesley? Like
Yeah.
the head of Activision's like, I know what we're going to do. We're just going to shove this We got the actors. Like, I'm kind of reminded on a separate note, some friends of mine have this game studio and they got the Firefly license, right? And so they're making this Firefly MMO that was going to just be sort of existing outside of, just going to be an MMO, independent MMO. And then the internet was like, oh, we should get the fucking voice actors. And I guess they got enough heat. They got all the voice actors. And now it's going to take years for that game to come out because they got to go and reintegrate all the original voice actors into a game. It's not like you can just, you know, have Nathan Fillion read, press start now. You know, like you can't, you got to actually, it takes a lot of effort. But basically, the third thing was, this is what I call bullshit. The third reason why they say it didn't work was internal competition from Star Wars Battlefront.
That's what I thought was the
that.
funniest thing.
Fuck that. Come on. Really? Battlefront cut into this? It couldn't possibly be there's amiibos kick the shit out of them because they exist across the whole platform. I don't want to cut you off. Go ahead.
I would say, well, this whole season 3, like of Infinity, was the whole Star Wars line. So kids were, you know, do I want Star Wars Disney Infinity or do I want Battlefront? And because Battlefront was made so accessible for players of all ages, you know, most kids wanted, you know, Battlefront because it was this crazy hot looking game that, you know, just like the other games we talked about, empty on the inside. But I think that's what they meant. Like, it wasn't just like the Marvel and the Disney, because the second Disney 2.0 was Marvel. The first was, you know, just random, you know, Disney characters. I think that's what we're talking about. Is, you know, 3.0 was supposed to be this big Star Wars push, and kids for Christmas opted for Battlefront instead.
Let me see. Lastly, while Disney Infinity was an in-house process, Battlefront was largely reached a different audience. That wasn't the case. Battlefront's appeal and simplified design, which actually hurt the quality of Battlefront, ironically,
Yeah.
appealed to everyone. So Disney was competing against itself last year on this front. You know, but this is my thing. Like, okay, so they're like, hey, this season we made a mistake. We went all Star Wars. Now we're going to diversify the line for season 4. But then they're like, we have all this inventory. We can't do anything. We're shutting the whole fucking thing down. I got to tell you, this hurts. Like, what are they going, whatever they come up with next. Let's say they go, okay, EAU, we're not going to build it internally. We're going to have someone else do it now. No one's going to buy into this shit. Dude, you can't burn people like, I mean, it's a pretty big burn. These things aren't cheap, right? I know Brandon said he spent hundreds of dollars on these Guardians figures, and he got all the Alice ones because his wife loves Alice and shit. I mean, who knows what Bacon threw down on this, you know?
You know, I mean, I guess some fans dodged a bullet somewhat because they were talking that the next season, you know, 4.0 was possibly going to have 12-inch figures instead of the short little guys.
Can you imagine? I can't play my game because my giant 12-inch figure's in the way. Like, I got to just set it on my... Then that's when you need the Wii U pad to make it fit, right? Like, it's got to be on a pad of some sort. Because that's what the game needed, 12-inch... That takes you back to the Guitar Hero inventory, right?
Yeah, but I mean, that's what Activision uses for their Skylanders toys, so...
We're just going to melt your dreams into plastic figurines.
Well, maybe it would work better if they folded into these little boxes and then they folded out into, like, okay, that was kind of a dumb idea. But I was thinking Transformers for a minute. I was like, you know, if they could, like, compact the space, but then it probably would hurt the design of the character. So never mind.
Hey, you know what I bought like a week or two ago? I found the giant Yoshi amiibo. Like, it was a Toys R Us exclusive. I just walked in and they had one on the shelf. And the guy's like,
yeah, because amiibos are... How big are amiibos compared to Infinity statues? Or
they're close to the same size.
Okay, because amiibos are actually really small. Like, I bought one the other day for my niece, and I was like, oh, this is really small. I mean, like, it's like 3-4 inches, maybe at most.
Yeah, this giant Yoshi's like a foot tall, and the amiibo sensor is just like in one of his feet.
That's cool. So I could see that being, like, they should have more of those.
And it's the yarn Yoshi too, so it's a big plushie. It's hilarious.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, the difference, though, is that Nintendo's amiibos can work across all their different games, and we're basically locked to what, a Disney and Marvel and Star Wars, and name 3 great Disney, Marvel, and Star Wars games made in the last 10 years. One of each.
Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2?
Maybe Marvel versus Capcom 3, but even then I hate it, you know? Like, Knights of the Old Republic was the last good Star Wars game for me, man. And I can't remember with Epic Mickey. So, you
Hey,
know.
wait,
I
what?
like
No,
the
no. I like Epic
first.
Mickey.
What was? Oh man, what was that? The shit.
You want an Epic Mickey story? I'll tell you one really quick.
I
So,
was gonna say, what was
hold
that
up.
that action Star Wars game?
No, no, I
Force
want to hear
Unleashed.
it. I
Like
want
the
to hear
first
it.
one.
So when we went to Disneyland for this Epic Mickey thing, I went with Dave, and it was, I don't know, this whole thing. So we're sitting in this theater, and they're showing the game to all the press, and they're like, "Hey, here's the game we got coming out now." They go through all their spiel, show all the different things it's gonna do and levels, and Oswald the rabbit's coming back, and they go, "Now, we're gonna show you the ending to the game. So if you don't want to be spoiled, leave now." And like one guy was like, "This is ridiculous," and he walked out. And they're like, "Oh, this must be a big reveal, right? Why would they show us the ending?" I mean, mostly endings are arbitrary, right? So it's like, all right, there must be something behind like this the whole reason for this occurring, that there must be something, right? They play the ending, nothing. Like it is nothing. The ending for Epic Mickey is just woohoo! There's a star. We're happy. They walk off together. Nothing. We all sat around looking at each other like, why did you do that? Like, what was the point? And it was just like, okay, so we're done now. It was like that. It was 5 seconds of just every like journalist looking at one another. I'm just an artist, man. I don't even write for this shit. But it was the strangest thing. Why did they show us the ending? I don't know. Like,
I don't know
so
why they didn't just show you the beginning, like or something. That ending. I mean, whatever. That's really weird. It
the
just doesn't make
ending,
sense to
the
me.
ending is pointless. Like
Yeah.
it's as important to the game as the ending of Mario 64. Oh, hey, she baked a cake. Woot, like it's really not the point of the game, right? Like it's not the point of the game, is what I'm trying to say. But this one guy was like, "This is ridiculous. I can't believe you're doing this," just stormed off. And I was like, "Oh, man, he did not want to be spoiled." And then we got spoiled, and it was like even worse. And somehow it was like worse. We stayed around for this. So, Epic
I,
Mickey.
I
I
think the
actually have that
last.
Game Informer cover. I'm pretty sure it was a cover. Sorry.
I was gonna say, I think the last thing that was kind of sad about Disney Infinity series is how they wouldn't let the characters cross over. Like Marvel characters pretty much could only stay in the Marvel areas. Star Wars, and it seemed like such a huge opportunity to have, like Darth
Considering
Vader fight Iron Man and do all this stupid stuff. It'd be like playing
considering the
Marvel
kids
versus.
would do it anyway. Like
Yeah,
if the kids are gonna have the Star Wars toys, they're gonna have the Mickey Mouse, and they're gonna go, "Arr," Let me get my
Or
pen here.
not
Let
play with them
me,
at all.
let me reenact. They're gonna be like Kylo Ren, and I'm like, "I'm Mickey Mouse, Kylo Ren, right? Do, arr," like that's what they're gonna do. Like it
so
fucking.
weird. It's like
But
here's Marvel versus Capcom, and only the Capcom characters can fight each other.
wouldn't that be great? You know what this reminds me of? This would be like if they released Final Fantasy on Steam and made it so that if you watch Japanese subtitles, you could only listen to Japanese audio.
Isn't that what they did?
Yes. It's exactly what they did, because I don't fucking know why. So, alright. Yay, Disney. Moving right along, and more optimistic gaming news. Lionhead Studio closes. Now, everyone knows we have the Molyneux watch here at SketchCraft Gaming because I fucking care. And Peter Molyneux made this company called Bullfrog, which then became Lionhead. And I want to point you all to, and it recently closed. They created this game called Fable. And a lot of people believe, I guess Peter Molyneux created that. Actually, not true. So this comes from Eurogamer.net. Let me bring this up right here. Bring the link up. Eurogamer.net had a whole inside story on why Lionhead Studio closed, the inside story. And they give basically all the way to the point where Peter Molyneux created a game called Black and White, which we all know about. And they also bought into another studio, and that studio was developing Fable. And everyone around them, when they showed it off at E3, thought Peter Molyneux, because it's, whimsical, made the game. And they're like, "No, Peter's got nothing to do with this." And they're like, "He needs to now, because that's your game." So one thing led to another. They ended up being acquired by Microsoft, and they made a bunch of bullshit sequels, and Peter Molyneux left and made this brilliant game called Goddess. It's the greatest game ever made. I highly recommend you buy 6 copies of it and experience the wonder of playing an iPad game on your PC. and he and then he made this wonderful game which you click on a box for 6 weeks. But Microsoft decided to close the studio. The fucked up thing about it is, go all the way down the bottom, Fable. The fucked up thing about it is apparently they had offers to buy the studio, save all the jobs, but Microsoft does not want to relinquish the Fable IP. So they basically, the whole point of Lionhead, from Microsoft's position, was always been about Fable. And I cannot understand, is it the name, Wesley? Like, what is it? Like, it's not like the game ever lived up to... Name me one character from Fable right now.
Well, I mean, there's the character's you, so...
Right. What is it about Fable? I mean, it has a clever name, right? Fable. Wow. Okay, so what? Like, what have they done with it?
Yeah, there's like the, I don't know what she was, like the Oracle, the Prophet or something that shows up in all of them, but that's about it.
I mean, they're just holding on to an IP they're never going to use, right? Like, they just want that name that bad, I don't know, dude. Like, I mean, you played Fable Legends at E3 or something, you said, right? Didn't you play that Connect game, the one with the Fable
Well,
Connect?
I Fabled the Journey. I played that it was pre-GDC 2000, like 11, 12, something like that. Microsoft had a little one-off event. I played it there and got to meet Peter, which was cool. I played Fable Heroes, which that wasn't him. That was a couple of guys who worked at Lionhead. They used to basically do their own indie jam, and the guys made this game, and they're like, "Shit, let's actually make it," which is cool. It was a little beat 'em up. And then the Fable. I played the recent Fable though, and that last E3, and it was okay. It kind of felt like MOBA-esque or like Gauntlet. I mean, somewhere in there where you're working through like a dungeon, fighting enemies, and there's supposed to be somebody who's like the dungeon master, setting traps and things like that. So
Fable was the promise of Fable initially was that it would be like a real next gen, westernized version of Zelda. That was the whole point. When that thing was pitched, it would have growing trees. The world would actually grow around you and shit, which never happened. And that never came to be. Why can't they just make... I mean, given the success of Witcher, why can't they just make a first-person or third-person, single-player, fucking westernized Zelda game? Like, what if Zelda had gone beyond what it is now, right? If we just, ramp that up, what could that be? They can't do that, man. I mean, Microsoft is the worst when it comes to gaming. I've been to Microsoft studios. I have walked around and talked with developers and shit, even a year ago. And I can tell you, man, that's a very sterile environment for creativity. I don't know what this, the people there, the creative types are creative, but the uppity ups, it's like, you ever seen a style guide? You ever seen a style guide before, any of you?
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I have. Probably have.
So there's two kinds of style guides. There's these kinds that are filled with creativity and artwork, and then there's these kinds that are there's like more pages on what not to do with their logo than what to do, in ways you can utilize. So style guide's basically a document that shows your brands, whatever they're giving you to use, characters, images, books. And then they show you in various ways you can use it, or they have all the reference of those images there so you can just look at what you want to use. But the Microsoft one had more pages on what you can't do with their shit than on what you could do with it. And so, like I've always said, from a top-down leadership position at Microsoft, especially in terms of the games, it's got to be hella fucking sterile, dude. And a whimsical fantasy game, it just doesn't, it doesn't compute. I get science fiction, space armor, Jim Cameron knockoff fucking Halo game, dude. Whatever. I get that because, it's a sterile space environment you're running around and blowing shit up. But a magical, whimsical world, I mean...
Where you can fart, burp, can get STDs. So
you need that from the British, right?
yeah.
I don't know. Somehow I'm going to pay for that remark. But, you need that from people who can have fun. There's not a lot of fun at Microsoft, man. I'm just telling you. They're weird people. So, you want to add anything to the Lionhead closing, or you have any?
Yeah. I mean, I see why it's a valuable license still, Fable. I think it's still relevant. I think fans would be excited if a proper Fable game was to be announced at some point. How they passed on 343 or Halo to 343 Studios, they've done a decent job keeping that game good and relevant. And the new Gears of War, they created a whole new studio. They got one of the Ron Ferguson, that lead that team, who was pretty. He was the producer on the
Space
Gears
War
of War
game.
games.
Yeah, Space War, Space Marine game.
Yeah, but Fable, I think, maybe they find the people who made Kingdoms of Amalur, they used to work with big, huge games, and, maybe they find somebody out there to take it somewhere else that they just weren't seeing with Lionhead. Because I think
Look what they did to Rare. You know what I mean? Like, I love Rare.
Maybe it's the British.
The British need to make this game, man. The British need to come through and fulfill the What about those guys that made? What about Ninja Theory? They made Enslaved. I mean, are they too serious? But they're a pretty good developer.
Yeah, their new game looks cool. Hell something.
Yeah.
So memorable.
That's what I'm saying, man. Like, get them Fable.
I loved Enslaved. That game was.
But
fantastic.
is the property worth? I mean, how much is Fable worth? You know what I mean? Like, how much could it be worth?
That I don't know. I mean, why not sell the studio and all the other properties? Be like, you can have Black and White, and does Microsoft even own that shit?
The Dungeon Keeper and shit. Like when they made that.
Well, I know EA owns Dungeon Keeper, but there was Black and White 2. That's probably owned by
Black and White 2.
That's probably not a Microsoft title. The only things they probably have is probably literally
Fable.
Just Fable. That's probably it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think there's enough value in it for Microsoft to keep it and find another studio to take over the reins.
Oh, the movies. Remember that one? Where you could make a.
But that was multi-platform too. That came out on PC, and I think that was published by Activision.
This was crazy. This was before Machinima. So I don't know if you ever saw this game. Actually, it's called The Movies, where it was a game in which you could take a bunch of in-game assets and make movies out of it in a way, but it was kind of a sim game. And you try to create clips, and it was weird. Like it was before YouTube. Put it that way.
Wait, when did this come out?
2005.
Was it a PC game?
I don't remember.
It was PC and Xbox. It may have been
That's
PlayStation
probably why
as well.
I had an Xbox. Yeah, I had one, but I don't know.
You probably didn't play the movies.
I didn't. I didn't even know. Wait, no. Go ahead. Sorry,
I was gonna say someone needs to update the Wikipedia for Fable because I just typed in Fable and it says creator Peter Molyneux.
Well, I recommend this Lionhead the inside story from Eurogamer.net. This thing is long. Watch, I'm gonna just start scrolling down. This is the whole article. This is the real deal, man. This is a real fucking thing to read. But this is really good stuff. This whole article. I highly recommend taking the time to read this. So, alrighty, moving right along. What else can we complain about? So we're gonna get into game impressions in a second. Wrap this up. But really quickly, I'd just like to say, I am I'm a man of opinions, right? I believe in things and I fucking shrug everything else off. I don't care. But I know when I'm wrong. And I tend to fucking hate on a place called IGN. I hate them, I just think they suck. So this week it was announced that IGN has acquired all of Game Trailer's assets, all the reviews they did, all the retrospectives, and they're hosting them for free now. Well, they're putting them all up onto Game Trailer's channel on YouTube, the Game Trailer's channel on YouTube, which I will dig up here in a second to show you. And why is this a big deal? Folks, I'm going to tell you right now, if you haven't sat through the Game Trailer's retrospectives, I'm going to read this up right here. These are just some of the best retrospectives ever. They got a nice front around the Game Trailer's YouTube page. Click on retrospectives. They're all in here. And obviously they don't go up to the current versions of these games. They go up to like Metal Gear 5 and if you ever want to actually understand what the fuck's going on in the Metal Gear games, listen, watch these. Put these on. You got to put these on. The Zelda one's awesome. They theorized a timeline that involved two separate timelines on this retrospective, and then Nintendo a year or two later came out and said that that's actually that's true. Like that's how the Zelda timeline works. So they got Castlevania retrospectives. These things are just gold. The Star Wars retrospective was crazy. It's like 10 parts. It's fucking nuts. It covered everything. There's a Warcraft one if you want to know what's going on. Final Fantasy. This is brilliant. The Final Fantasy one. These are really good. Out of all the retrospectives, normally you type in retrospective on YouTube and you just get some guy like myself telling you, well, once there was a place called Final Fantasy and that was a game that came out. This shit's quality stuff, man. So IGN acquired all of Game Trailer's content, which I guess they bought, spent the money on, because remember they don't want to be known for gaming, and and now that at least they're putting it all up onto the Game Trailers, which I gotta imagine has to be ad free, given how much licensed content is in those retrospectives. So, but that's pretty cool. And the people that used to work at Game Trailers are now Easy Allies is their YouTube channel. I guess they got a Patreon or something. They're doing easyallies.com. I got to go check out their content. I don't know what they're up to.
I couldn't imagine it being ad-free, because how else would IGN pay for what they bought?
Well, how are they going to see the ad revenue from a Zelda retrospective? You know, like, I think they're on the Nintendo share plan or something?
Yeah, definitely. IGN? Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So,
Totally.
did you ever watch any of the retrospectives, Wesley?
Yeah, I remember the Zelda one very well. I remember watching Final Fantasy. I feel like there's a really good Kingdom Hearts one too.
It's buried in the Final Fantasy because the Final Fantasy one is 13 parts long. So it's buried in there. There's the Prince of Persia.
13 parts. That's where Final Fantasy should have ended.
I think it went right up to there. I felt it should have ended with 12, but that's just me. But there's a Ratchet and Clank retrospective. Ashley, you should check it out. So, but these are really cool. If you ever like sit down and want to play some of these older games and get caught up on the lore, these are the best things. They're just cool to leave on
When
while
is
you're
their
drunk.
time? Sorry, there's just
You
so
put it
much
on while you
going
work. That's what I
Oh,
do.
sorry. I thought you were saying if you ever want to play these games.
Oh.
You meant play the retrospectives.
Yeah, I don't mean play the games to their completion. You're never going to be able to do that, Ashley. That's gone. Like for you.
Oh,
for
yeah.
people like myself. So,
She's got time. She's young. She's full of energy. She can pull some all-nighters.
she's pulling all nighters drawing. So anyhow, this is really cool, folks. You should check it out. So let's move right along. So a couple games. I've been talking enough. Wesley, you've been playing some Doom.
I played some Doom. I was dog sitting last weekend, and they had Doom on Xbox One. So late at night, I stuck it in, and I started playing it. It started off really cool. Like there's heavy metal music, and as soon as you like come to be and you grab your first gun, you hear the cocking of it, like the like perfectly in time with the music, and it was pretty dope. I'm like, okay, let's rock.
Rip and tear.
Yeah, rip and tear. And you enter Mars, you start, right away, you start blasting zombies. As you shoot them, you can like also get staggered, and then you can run up and like instant kill them, which is gruesome and tons of fun. And then I just got bored. I was just like, I don't know. I just what?
Would you say that there's an element of comedy? And then not comedy like haha, but you could tell like it's not one of those horror games that's like super serious. It's like it's kind of supposed to be so out there that it's like funny. Is it like that?
It definitely. It's over the top. It's awesome. I mean, even on Xbox One, it was 60 frames per second. It looked super smooth. It was fast. It was all these things I wanted in a Doom game, and by the time I kept pressing through that first area, I was just getting bored. I was like, okay, I found a secret area. Oh, look, it's a tiny Space Marine doll. Oh, that's cool. We gave it a fist bump.
I know how to energize your Doomage. VR. If that game were in VR...
Oh, man.
Yeah.
People would have a heart attack. Well, maybe.
You would not be born.
Have you seen the GTX like 1080 videos of that game running at 240 frames on like the highest? Yeah, it's insane. And I think maybe keyboard and mouse, like sitting close with some headphones on, I would have felt more immersive. I was playing on a big ass TV, but it still felt like some of the menus were, like I was squinting a little bit. And so maybe that was making it less enjoyable for me. I definitely want to go back to it. I just $60 because I'm really only going to play the single player.
Gamefly, bro.
I'm going to play it on PC. I got a 970. Yeah, I got to rock that stuff at its optimal settings. But yeah, I mean, I'll give it's okay. It didn't blow me away because the reviews are like so good, and I think a lot of the reviews I read to talk about how the game, if anything, doesn't necessarily pick up, just kind of stays the same. And I'm like, if this is what I felt like in the first level, am I going to feel like this for the next, 5, 6 hours, 8 hours? I don't know how long it is.
Like a bad date.
Well, if you are getting sort of bored with it, then that means I'll probably like it a lot. So I don't know
I
what it
like
is,
how
but
you think, Ashley.
no, every game that I love, everyone's like, I didn't like that game. I'm like, well, okay. I guess
It's
I'll.
it's weird too because I'm generally the champion of horrible games, but this isn't a horrible game. This is a game done well. This is how they should have done Duke Nukem.
The heck you say? Tell me more about Neptunia. Like,
I have the first two. I haven't played them yet. I do have Omega Quintet for PS4
yeah, and the mouse pad to go with it.
and the body pillow. Yeah.
I haven't played it yet. I can't tell you. I can be honest,
But
man. Like I told
It's
you, when
on
it
my
comes-
list. I'm gonna get. Sorry.
It's on the
Yeah, no.
backlog, right?
What?
The backlog.
Oh yeah.
I would just say if you're not a diehard Doom fan and you're not going to
No, I'll
be
wait.
playing multiplayer, yeah, wait a little bit. Wait
don't
till
worry.
it's,
I've
wait till
got
it's
plenty
40
of
bucks, Wait till it's
games.
$30, and that's kind of maybe that's the boat I'm in. My backlog's so big, like the Division was something I got when it came out, and I put like 10 hours in the first few days, and like this week was the first time I picked it back up in like over a month, if not longer.
You just wanted to talk about the Division again, didn't you?
No, but hey, really quick, I will mention
just
the last game I beat,
looping
which
that right
was
back around.
I went through Gravity Rush Remastered on PS4, which was excellent.
I think that's on my list. You liked it?
Yeah,
A lot.
it's a beautiful game.
Mm-hmm.
The controls can make you nauseous. Especially, it's not a game for someone to watch you play because you're flying all over the place. You're going upside
Oh,
down.
sorry,
The
that
controls
didn't happen
are
to me.
crazy, but it's cool. It has a little bit of like an RPG mechanic where you kind of you get this town that you walk around, you talk to, and you pick up little side quests, and then you do your mission. It's like an action RPG with this whole you can elevate and fly around the area, and
Right.
it's visually.
All right,
Very
I want to stay on target, Wesley. We're veering off. So, the forums bring the chat window brings up that Ashley will get to Doom in about 3 or 4 years. Haha. I'm like, we'll
What?
they're already timing you, Ashley. How long it'll take for you to play Doom?
No,
Crusher,
not
Crusher
that long.
Junior. Then that sounds like my son.
Oh yeah, right, Wesley Crusher Jr. So, all right, check out Doom. I do have a question. This is really paramount. Wesley, I just have to know which cover were they using for Doom when you played it?
Oh, I flipped their cover before I left.
Did you just set it right?
But to be honest, I don't even think he knew.
Right, that it
He's
flipped.
13. He just opens the game, put it in the Xbox, and that was the end of it. I think he doesn't read video game websites. He sees what's at GameStop and like what looks cool and what the friends are talking about at school. But a lot of kids, I don't know. All the kids I know don't go online and read shit anymore. I feel like that died with like my age and maybe a little bit younger.
I heard
But
somebody say that I was reading about magazines or for a little bit, and someone says, I don't really read magazines. That's so 2007. And I was like, what the hell? And I was like, oh, okay, cool. I mean, whatever. I mean, I guess that makes sense because the invention of the smartphone and all that, but yeah, I don't know. I still read magazines, but I like reading physical stuff. And my niece, she reads physical books. So, sorry, we're going off topic again. So,
Thank you,
anyway.
Ashley. Thank you.
well, hey,
So-
just to continue off topic really quick. Just really quick, I think reading is definitely more something that girls do, which
No,
I don't
let's
really
not-
read
boys
that
go outside
much.
and play.
Let's
And I
not
think
do this.
Hey,
that's not a sexist thing. I
Mm-mm.
totally envy it. I think that's why most women are getting better.
No,
jobs
let's
now
not
and
do
they're
this.
smarter.
Okay.
Wait,
yeah.
wait a
okay.
minute.
Reading is paramount. Most boys just play games, and girls play games
Wesley,
too.
let's
but,
not do
like,
this. Okay.
Stop this.
There's nothing
Stop
sexist. You're
saying
you're
this,
you're, you're the one making it something.
I'm
the one
not
that's
saying
opinion.
anything. I'm just saying that I'm glad to know that Doom seems to be like a fun game for at least a level.
God
So-
forbid we talk about something of relevance.
It can be warped, and we shall not We shall not. We shall not. What's the word I'm thinking about? Poke the eye of Sauron right now. I don't want to do it. So let's just move on. So lastly, I've been playing Uncharted 4 this past week. How many here have beaten every Uncharted game? Wesley, have you?
Sorry.
Or did Wesley leave?
I think so.
Sometimes Wesley leaves. All right, Ashley. So, how many Uncharted games have you played?
All of them.
You played all of them?
Yeah, except for the last one. The one that just came out a week ago.
Nice. So, I have only beaten the first game and played through most. Let me add Wesley. He didn't. Okay, Wesley didn't just.
Oh my gosh, I thought he was mad.
It would take more than that. Wesley and I have yelled at one another. So
Yo.
Oh.
she was like, "I thought Wesley was mad." I'm like, "No, I've yelled at Wesley. Like, we had an uncomfortable yelling match once. Like, it would take more than that." I'm not mad at what Wesley has to say. I just don't want it used against Wesley, and then I don't want to be on Reddit. So let's move on. Wesley, how many Uncharted games have you beaten? How many Uncharted games have you beaten?
All of them except for the current one.
Okay, I beat the first game, and I played parts of the second and the third one, but that was because I was in a weird work cycle. I couldn't at the time play them to completion. But I've been playing Naughty Dog games since Crash Bandicoot. Like Naughty Dog, to me, was like, it was like them and Rare for the longest time as like those, like they were like the Rare of PlayStation games. And they would not only would they come out with these fun games that were okay cartoony, but they would have technical achievements every game. Case in point, like you get to Crash Team Racing, and that game, would eliminate the shifting of pixels. There used to be this thing on the PlayStation where it would shift, it would wobble the polygons. You ever notice on old PlayStation games? Yeah. So they fixed that on Crash Team Racing. Like it doesn't wobble anymore. Right? That's something we fixed. So, and it was.
Are you talking about Crash Tag Team Racing?
No, just Crash Team Racing.
Oh, Crash Racing. Okay,
Crash
I played several of them, so I'm trying to figure out. Okay, go ahead.
And so then they went and did Jack and Daxter, and there's a great devs play on the Double Fine YouTube page where they talk about the guy that used to be at Insomniac that created Spyro, and then they talk to was Insomniac who created Spyro? They talked to the Spyro guy, yeah, and then they talk to
Ted Price.
Yeah, Ted Price, and then they also talked to the dude from Jason Rubin from Naughty Dog, who was there at the very, very beginning of Naughty Dog, and they were talking about how like Jack and Daxter and Ratchet and Clank were sort of synergetic, and like they were talking back and forth and sharing technology. They're in developing those games, and that's why they sort of make cameos in both games. And then they went off and did, on the Uncharted series, and it sort of culminates with this game. This game is fucking awesome. I'm not going to get into spoilers because I know Ashley hasn't played it yet. I just want to say, for me, I've only played the first game, and then the second I've seen, the third I've seen. I'm playing through this entire game. I set the difficulty all the way down to 0 because I'm got no fucking patience for trying to be great at games anymore. It's just really good. Like, it's the best interactive Netflix Indiana Jones fucking American show ever, dude. It's really awesome. Technology is brilliant. There's something that happens in the 4th level that just blew my mind. That was fucking amazing.
You getting swatted, man?
Oh no, I just live in a. I live in a.
After my comments, you're getting swatted, aren't you?
So you see what I'm saying, Wesley? You think I make this up. But it's just it's a flawless game. I don't care. Some of the internet people, I heard one negative review, and my buddy was like, "I heard it was shit." I'm like, the one fucking negative review. I feel like this is a game that probably should have came out at the end of the PS4, but it's like, wow, we got at least 2, 3, 4 more years of PS4 to go here, dude. Like, I can't wait to see what else Naughty Dog's up to next, man. Like, I really can't. Like, this was really good, guys. Like, I'm blown away, When I was a kid, it was always this talk about merging Hollywood with cinema. And for me, they've perfected it. Like, each one got better and better, but this is the one where it's like, this is clearly... I wish Naughty Dog would make a superhero game, like an original one. Like, they don't have to make Batman. They can make their own. Like, Naughty, Arrow...
Naughty Man.
Naughty Man, right? Voiced by Wesley Crusher and starring Wesley Crusher Jr. So, like...
That'd be my sidekick.
Yeah, your sidekick.
Boy Wonder.
Have you had a chance to play any Uncharted 4, Wesley, or seen any of it?
No, just like I said, backlog and
You own PS4, right?
yeah.
Okay. But yeah, it is better than Tomb Raider, the last Tomb Raider game. Everyone was telling me that was way better than Uncharted, but no, I say this is really awesome. So I know Ashley, you're holding out on it. Because obvious reasons. But when you get around to it, just don't expect to get any work done that week.
Right. No,
I'm
I
just
probably
telling you.
will. I'm really strict with my video game playing, so I probably will be okay.
Me too, and I'm already halfway through the game. It's rare a game grips me. Although, to be fair, I've had such fucking crazy internet problems that the only thing I could do is fucking take some time out, go play a single-player adventure. It's just nice to see a single-player adventure game also sell a grip of copies too. Like do well. The production value is brilliant. I'm amazed by the game. It's a game that unlike Gravity Rush, where you probably shouldn't look at it when someone else is playing this game. This is one of those games that you could easily play, and for your friends who don't like games could come over and watch it and get into it.
Oh yeah. Do you
Just
remember
like-
the second one? The second one was like my wife, which is a girlfriend type. She's watched me play 2, 3, and even The Last of Us. Just sat with me and watched me play the whole game. And I think it was for 3. It may have been for 2, but they did a commercial where a guy was playing and his girlfriend was watching, and just that much into it too, which is kind of funny because that's how that game is. It's so cinematic that you don't have to play it to enjoy it.
Yeah, it's a game that I'd buy the system for easily.
Would you buy the 4K system for? Because that's the rumor is there's going to be a 4K version of this game with that new PlayStation 4.5 or whatever they're calling it.
Well, it's not going to be in VR, so I don't see the point. So, I mean, if it's going to run at a better frame rate, it looks fine on my... I got to be honest, folks. I don't see the difference in 4K resolution to 1080p as much, because I have a giant screen TV. On a little monitor, yeah, but on a giant screen TV, I'm going to need 12K to really see a big difference, So... I don't know. That 4.5 thing for me is like a VR question. And for me, I need a game. I need a game that you can't get anywhere else. And this is a game you can't get on any other platform. You can get Grand Theft Auto 5 on a PC. You can get Grand Theft Auto 5, I think, on Xbox now, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can get it on Xbox now.
Day and day.
So you don't have to get a PS4 to play Grand Theft Auto 5 in HD. There's other options. But Uncharted 4, you ain't going nowhere else. So... this is it. I didn't buy a PS2 until after Grand Theft Auto 3 came out. I played it. My friend brought it over and his PS2. I played it for about 30 minutes. I turned it off. I went to Best Buy and bought a system. I was like, okay, I'm in. I'm in now. And they got me with this one. This is brilliant. Matter of fact, it's so great. I'm not too bummed out at the fact that I hate Star Fox Zero. Like I tried to like that game, man. What a wimpy way for the Wii U to go. So, Uncharted 4, fucking awesome. All right. That's it, folks. We got anything else? I'm going to keep putting off that Pyre trailer until we can give it some proper due. We're going to do some Steam game coverage next week. I want to dig up some Steam games I want to talk about. So, next time. All right, Wesley, where can people find you on the internet?
Right down below on Twitter. That's the best place.
No.
Instagram.
Thanks, Wesley. You dick. All right, yeah, I can find Wesley on his Instagrams and Twitters. All his info below. Ashley, your info's below too. It's at gangfeather.com, right? And Instagram /gangfeather.
Yeah.
Right. Hey, perfect. Man, you threw me off, Wesley. Thank you. All right, everybody, I'm gonna head out of here. Talk to you.
That's what I do.
It's what he does. Wesley's, who's Wesley?